How did the movie come to you?
I was finishing shooting Star Trek actually, and I've been sent the script, and I actually did an audition from Vancouver with David Leitch over Skype in some recording studio, and yeah, and then after they wanted to see me, so over a weekend I flew back to LA, and I sat down with Charlize and David, and we read a bit, and we talked about the character as well.
Did you do any research on spycraft?
Yes, I did a tiny bit, but I also watched a lot of spy movies, and but I wanted to get some sort of individuality for Delphine because it's because of the time, and because it's the 80s, it's Berlin, it's the end of the Cold War, and because she's French and she's young also in that world. I wanted to find something that was quite personal to her. I think she could have been good at her job. She left too soon, but yeah, she's very young within the profession. But I think she's also looking for a bit of excitement in the city of Berlin.
Did you look at the graphic novel source material, The Coldest City, at all?
Yes, I did actually. I bought it and I read it, and I thought, I mean, there's sort of an interesting stretch between the graphic novel, which is it inspires the Cold War. You can feel it, very sort of grim, gray sort of world, and it fits the title so well. And our movie is very much more poppy and sort of on the cool side and aspect of the time. I watched a documentary called Lost and Sound, which the movie sort of resembled that documentary. I thought, sort of more the artsy world of Berlin at the time.
How was it working with director David Leitch?
I loved working with him. He was very, sort of sensitive to his actors, and with me, he was very curious to where I was at as an actress and as a person. He was very gentle and very sensitive. Yeah, that's what I noticed, and I didn't have to do anything that was very action driven in the part. I just have a tiny bit towards the end of the movie in the story, but most of what I did with David was talking about the character and the story. So I had a very sort of relationship with a director as opposed to with a former man who is very much from the stunt world. And I also love the fact that he picked me for this role and not for my abilities to be able to be in action scenes, but he saw me as something else. And I love that I am in a movie where a woman like Charlize is kicking ass the way she does.
She sure does.
Yes.
Kingsman, Star Trek, The Mummy, and now Atomic Blonde, one blockbuster after another, and you're still very young. How do you handle that kind of success?
I don't know. I suppose I don't realize it. I suppose all the work that I have to put is ahead of me, and I just stay focused. I just want to do well, and I'm still learning a lot, and I have to just keep my head strong on my shoulders. And I think it's the quality within the work that will make a difference, not the quantity or the fact that they're blockbusters. I think it could be in a very smaller movie, but and I feel very lucky, and I embrace all of it. I love every aspect of this profession so far, and I'm happy to be able to do what I've been doing for like pretty consistent couple of years now.
One can truly say you are not typecast. So many diverse characters you have played. How easy or difficult is it for you to slip into a completely different person each time?
Oh, the more different those characters are from one another, the more exciting it is for me. I don't necessarily desire to play characters that resemble one another. I like the stretch of them. I like that they're different, and I feel very lucky that I've been giving so far sort of characters that are very sort of strong within their own ways, and sort of specific, and also interesting to watch to the eye, and they have like all particular stories. And it wasn't necessarily a choice. I think I've been offered and handed scripts that are quite interesting with characters that are quite unique, and I embrace all those aspects.
The movie plays in the 80s when the wall in Berlin fell. You were only 7 years old. Do you have any memories of that momentous occasion?
No, I don't, unfortunately. But my parents certainly do because I remember when I got the part, I asked them loads of questions about it and how this time like meant for them and how closely people were, even if they didn't live in Berlin, they were. It was the city had such an effervescence, and I think any place where revolution is taking place is inviting all sort of arts to bloom from, and Berlin does have that. In that documentary that I told you about, Lost in Sound, shows how much the arts were invited here, and sort of like there was some sort of freedom that was happening here in all those sense. People were exploring all sort of new ways of making music. Electronic music were starting to happen from here, and all sort of like arts in the streets were happening. People felt liberated sexually because I think there was some sort of repression that came from the political status of the place, that people went against it and were yearning for some sort of freedom, and through the art it was very much shown. And yeah, I just love that I'm a part of a film that sort of treats that world.